Alright, I'm Phil. I'm here with Melissa. We're just going to be talking real quick about basically controlling the extension of your spine, something we look at with all our athletes throughout their workout programs, not only, when they're doing corrective work, but also when they're doing power work, strength work. It's always something you need to be conscious about working with athletes or yourselves, just because a lot of the times, when athletes are going overhead or moving, they're always moving into an inefficient position. They're letting their rib cage flare up. They're hyperextending the lower back, more of a lordosis type posture with the hips tilted forward. So we're going to just show you guys some correctives here and kind of how we integrate it into our workout programs. Basically, we'll start her off in a supported position. So with our athletes, if they have good shoulder mobility, they should be able to get overhead, maintaining good position in their core. They don't want to let the rib cage flare up. Basically, you're leaking energy. You're losing power and you're putting your body in a compromised position. So the way that we'll correct that, we'll first start off over here. Melissa's going to kind of take a seat, lean against the rack here. Make sure her back is flat against the rack, and all we're going to do is go up into shoulder flexion. Basically, she wants to make sure her rib cage doesn't flare up. If it does, normally you can feel some room here. She's flaring up there. You can feel some room in between her back and the bar. So we're going to bring her back down. She's going to kind of tuck in that rib cage, brace the core. You want to be able to breathe underneath the brace. It's called shallow breathing. Stay tight, but be able to breathe underneath the brace. Thumbs up. She's going to work overhead without flaring the rib cage. She's going to continue breathing and reaching back as far as she can go without losing good shoulder position, and then working back down. Normally we'll work about 6 reps, 2 to 3 seconds at the top here. You'll definitely feel it in your core when you get overhead if you're maintaining a good position. If not, normally your rib cage will flare up and you'll feel everything kind of stiffen up in the lower back. Okay, that's good here. So obviously that's a little bit more of a supported position. After she gets that down, then we can bring her into a half kneeling position, or even integrate it into some of our movement warm-ups. She'll do now a lunge with an overhead reach, working on the same thing with less support. So here she's going to lunge that. Same thing, try not to flare the rib cage, bracing the core, getting overhead with shoulder mobility, not compensating with the lumbar spine. And then she'll come up, obviously, she'll do a couple reps on each side here, just trying to maintain good positioning, make sure she's not leaking energy out of that unstable joint. Show you from the side here. Same thing, you can see her rib cage doesn't flare up. She's keeping a pretty good upright posture without leaking energy there. So here we can kind of tie the same positions into some of the lifting exercises that we do. Some people might think like, okay, how does that really benefit us? So say you're doing some type of overhead press. She's going to do a single arm dumbbell press here. Any type of position that we start off of that we can get her where she doesn't have to stabilize as much, she's going to do a little bit better. So we're going to start her half kneeling here as well. So one knee down here, maintaining the same position, just doing a single arm overhead press without flaring up. She flared up a little bit there. Just trying to maintain good positioning, getting overhead with shoulder mobility, not by compensating by hyperextending the lumbar spine. So here, she's at less of a risk to put stress on her lower back, and also she's working on efficient movement. And then we can work her up into standing. So now she'll do single arm shoulder press, standing. Obviously this takes a little bit more stability to complete this exercise without flaring up the rib cage, but she's doing a pretty good job of controlling the extension of her spine here, getting overhead with just shoulder mobility and not by compensating. So that looks pretty good. Just something to look at when you're doing your lifts, just to keep your body in a better position. Make sure you're not leaking energy, and working on, reinforcing good stabilization patterns with the core.